Welcome to the second SJHL preview, SCSA coaches chat of the preseason as we go through the 12 teams in the SJHL. And this is Tad Kozun, the head coach and GM of the Nipawin Hawks. Tad, first and foremost, great to talk to you as always. How are you doing? How was your summer? Did you get a little bit of rest?
Yeah, summer's been good. It's always nice to get on the golf course and take some time away and be able to do some research and kind of keep working at the craft that we do, and so you can make yourself better for when the guys come to town. And we're definitely looking ready. We're definitely looking forward to getting started here very shortly.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm sure it's even a greater sense of hope and expectation to get things going just because you have such a team full of returning guys. Three graduates from your team last year. Sort of what is the difference this year in messaging, in expectation and professionalism that you want to see from your group right away to start this year?
Yeah, when you look at our team from last year, we've got 17 guys that will be back this year to start with us. And last year at the end of the season, we had four guys that ended the season with us that were here with the year before. So just being able to have the guys return and be able to show them how we're going to do things and build off the success that we had at the start of the year. We knew we were going to have some growing pains last year. We just weren't sure how long it was going to take us to get these guys up to speed of how hard this league is and how we want to do things. And once the calendar kind of turned into 2025 there, I thought we hit our stride. We struggled a little bit through January, but when we hit February and March to end the season, I thought we finally kind of found our stride, and the guys realized what it's going to take to win in this league. And we just have to continue to build off that. Obviously, we want to develop champions here, and that's what we're trying to do. And with the end of our season, I think that's what we showed we can do. The biggest thing is we can't take anything for granted now and think it's going to be easy or anything like that. We've got to get right back into it and build off of what we were doing at the end of the year last year.
And you mentioned it right there. You beat the Flin Flons and the Melforts. You beat everybody kind of at the end of the year there. And so I'm sure there's a lot of hope and expectation from the community now, because I don't need to tell you, being a local guy to that area, the expectation is that the Hawks are going for championships from that great fan base. So what have you heard, just walking around town and hearing people, be excited for this Hawks season? What's the buzz like?
The buzz is great right now in the community. It's the biggest thing is how many guys are coming back, because every team's losing guys to the BC, the WHL, everywhere else you can even imagine right now with just the way the hockey landscape's going. And there's still a chance we lose a few guys because of guys going to Western League camps and stuff like that. And it is what it is. But being able to have so many returning guys, if you lose one or two here or there because of that, we're still in a great spot. It's not like I said, like last year we ended up with four on our roster, where that's not much turnover from the year before. So the buzz in the community is obviously very, very high, and the way we were playing at the end of the year, people are excited and looking forward to us getting started and seeing what we can do.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, you mentioned it there, and we've been talking about this idea of you having all these returning guys. I'm sure it starts, with Finley Radloff, the captain, and the local boy that has, feels like he's been a Nipawin Hawk for 15 years now. But, you go down the list, you have all these guys back. Just talk about the culture and how it has been that you and Dana Dirks, the assistant GM, and the organization has kind of been able to retain kids and keep them believing in this project, even though I don't need to tell you, you've had some tough times the last year or two.
Yeah, the biggest thing is sticking to our plan and sticking to the process. We came up with a plan and we said we're going to stick to it, and we've done that. Kind of like what we mentioned before. We knew there was going to be some tougher times last year based on how young we were, and with all the new players we were bringing in from different parts of the country, and just seeing how they're gelling together. And now we've set the standard of how we want to play, and that's the standard that we have to hold ourselves accountable to every single day. And having three of our leadership group come back, we can always add to it. We can do whatever we want with that. But when you have your captain returning and two of your assistants, it shows that they're going to be able to take the reins right off the bat and say this is how we do things here. And if you're not going to get on board, then obviously we'll find someone else that wants to be a part of this, because we obviously need to take those next steps forward, but we have to do it collectively as a group, and we have to do it together. And there's not one person that's going to say, okay, jump on my back and here we go. We've got to do it as a team. We've got to do it as a group. And we just have to continue doing what we've done, obviously, last year and building this to where we want to get it to.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't need to tell you, obviously you have a whole flock of Hawks, pun intended, up front that can put pucks in the back of the net. Doesn't seem like offense on paper should be a problem for you. But keeping pucks out, that obviously starts with a guy like Gage Roberts. You obviously gave him the role last year when things fell that way. But I guess you must be also gratified to know that he was able to withstand that pressure and be so impressive last year. How much of a step are you expecting him to take this year?
The biggest thing for him is just keep doing what he's doing. Don't put too much pressure on yourself and think you've got to be the best goalie in the world. It's just come out here and do your job and continue on the success he had last year when things obviously went away on us there with goalies coming in and out and the changes that we made there. I think we ended up with 5 here last year in total. And he's just a kid that kept battling and battling and battling. And you look at the start of the year for us, we kind of had him. Tad was our number 3 guy, and all of a sudden by the end of the year he was our number 1 guy. So he's just a kid that persevered through everything, and he's just got to continue to do that thing. And when you have a guy coming back that we had a lot of trust in last year, he's just going to come in and do his thing, and let's see what he can do.
Yeah, for sure. Getting kind of Cam Herdlicka vibes if there's any SJHL fans out there. Obviously that's a big compliment to Gage, given how Cam was in his SJ career for Estevan. So, very cool. Just 2 more questions then for you, Tad. As much as you're willing to share with us, I know again, like, it was 17-18 the last time the Hawks won the league. What are internal expectations, from the start for the whole year, as much as you're willing to share?
I mean, it's the same. Everybody can sit here and say you want to win a championship. I mean, that's everybody's obviously goal to do it. But our biggest thing is sticking to our process and developing these guys into champions. And if we can continue to develop the guys and build off what we've done last year, then we're going to have, I believe we're going to have a lot of success. And they've also got to push themselves to want to have that success. We can't just settle for mediocrity. There's still going to be growing pains throughout the year. You're going to have your ups and downs. I mean, that's junior hockey. There's always going to be kinds of that things, but it's finding that consistency, making sure we continue on with this culture, having that competitive nature day in and day out, making sure that we get better every single day. And we just want to take little steps at a time. Yeah, we can always sit here and say that, here's our end goal. How are we going to get there? But it's the little things that you do day to day. It's the little things that you do from game to game. How do we reset? How do we bounce back after a loss? How do we bounce back after a good win? How do we continue down that same road and just being consistent every day that we come out and giving ourselves a chance to win? So we've got to make sure we're putting in that work every day at practice. We've got to have that good mindset, and we've just got to make sure that we're taking care of, the guys in our locker room, that we're all on the same page and pulling on that same rope together.
I'll tell you what, that UPL North Division should be a lot of fun with 3 teams maybe that could win that division this year as we head into it. So it should be a lot of fun. Last question then for you, Tad. Give us a little teaser, maybe 1 or 2 guys. I know you're just kind of starting out camp and you got a lot of returnees, but maybe 1 or 2 new guys with their names that we can kind of look forward to seeing in Nipawin colors this year.
Whew, put me on the spot with that one there now. It's hard for me to really sit here and
Sure.
and probably name a couple. I think our scouting staff's done a fantastic job with the guys that we're bringing in, and they're going to find their spots on our team and can contribute. And we all know how a season's going to go. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be guys that go down, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see which guys can step up in those different types of roles that we need at that time, and how they gel with our team. Like I said, when you've got a lot of returners, they're going to jump in with the guys that have been here and the way we want to do things. So we're kind of just looking forward to everybody getting to town and pushing each other. It's we've obviously got a job to do here, and guys are going to come to town, and they're going to start pushing for jobs, and show us what you want to do to make that Nipawin Hawks successful.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tad, as somebody who's covered the league close the last little while, it was really impressive to see your fan base fill that rink even through some harder times. And now, you got a really, really good team, it seems, to kind of reward them. So that should be fun, Tad. All the best moving forward, and thanks for your time.
Thanks, Nugsy. Always a pleasure.